tell us why movement building is so important.
Movement building is absolutely essential because anything else is just tinkering with this system. We have got to build a movement that will achieve a profound, a radical shift in public consciousness, away from the overwhelming punitiveness directed towards poor communities of color, and instead replacing that with caring communities, with compassion, care, genuine concern for poor communities of color. So movement building will accomplish that. Movement building where we are telling the stories of people who've been released from prison, families who are coping with loved ones behind bars, people who are in prison, having an opportunity to tell their stories and for us to hear their voice and for us to set goals that are not attainable in the current political environment, but will be achievable only once we change the nature of the political environment itself. So for me, that means that we've got to set as goals ending the war on drugs, which means shifting from a punitive model to a public health model. It means ending all forms of discrimination against people when they're released from prison that deny them basic human rights, to work, to housing, to food. We have also got to shift from a punitive model towards people who are convicted of violent offenses to a restorative and transformative model, so that our entire criminal justice system is transformed and we can see an end to prisons as we know them, an end to the system of mass incarceration as we know it.
So what would you suggest to the people that have come here today to get involved in organizing and action pieces?
Well, I think it's important. We can't do everything at once.
Okay.
So what's important is to identify some clear goals, clear priorities at the outset. And it may well be, I can't prescribe a blueprint for the work, but it may well be that there are some people who are passionate about working on drug law reform, some people who are passionate around dealing with all of the forms of discrimination that people face when they're released from prison, some people who are passionate about dealing with violence in community and how we respond to violence in our communities. And that's okay. It's okay to have different committees, different groups of people who are focused on moving around, separate priority areas. But the key is that we see all of this work as linked as being part of the same movement, and that we ensure that when we do this work, we pay more attention to how it's being done than the particular policy reform that we're trying to achieve. And what I mean by that is that if we're working on felon disenfranchisement, that we ask ourselves, why don't prisoners themselves have the right to vote? And when we do our messaging around voting rights, that we say we want to end all forms of discrimination against people released from prison. We want to end this entire caste system, and the piece of the puzzle we're working on right now may be felon disenfranchisement, may be voting rights for prisoners, but we're concerned about ending the entire system. The entire system. This is the piece that we're working on right now.
Well, Michelle, I want to thank you very much. If that don't inspire and encourage this group out here, then we're lost. Thank you.
You're not lost.